Sonia and Rahul Gandhi have gotten aggressive over the leader of the opposition post. Congress leaders are in the process of gathering signatures of 60-odd members of parliament to support its leader of the opposition claim. That's a story that we will be tracking right after we complete our top focus story. We're breaking down and simplifying for you the implications of the railway budget. Never before have expectations been this high from a single rail budget. There's been a huge amount of hype in the run-up, improving services, improving finances that remained the single-minded focus of the Modi government's first rail budget. While the government pushed for private investment and the public-private partnership model to fund development, the minister, Sadananda Gowda, pushed for a 360-degree revamp of passenger services in railways. The rail budget saw any populist pitch with a thrust on security, cleanliness and even linking fuel prices and ticket prices.
लंबे अरसे के बाद देश अनुभव करेगा कि सच्चे अर्थ में हमारी रेलवे ये भारतीय रेलवे है। विज्ञान और टेक्नोलॉजी का भरपूर उपयोग आने वाले दिनों में हो। रेलवे जैसा तंत्र एडहॉक रूप से नहीं चल सकता। हर प्रकार के निर्णय प्रक्रिया के लिए, नए विजन के लिए, नए इनिशिएटिव के लिए इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैकेनिज्म होना बहुत जरूरी होता है। यह बजट ट्रांसपेरेंसी को बल देता है, इंटीग्रिटी को बल देता है, रेल का विस्तार भी हो।
Well, let's once again take you through the big ticket announcements. Rail Minister will seek cabinet approval for foreign direct investment in railways. Future projects will be funded by the public-private partnership model. The tariff hike will be linked to fuel prices. The Modi government wants the railways to become the largest freight carrier in the country. There will be lifts and escalators at all big stations. The scope of online bookings will be expanded. It's been an object of complaint for many months and many years. Passengers will be able to pick coach and seats. CCTV cameras will monitor cleanliness and security in trains and at railway stations. The cleaning responsibility at 50 stations to begin with will be outsourced at this point. You will get pre-cooked, ready-to-eat meals from known brands on trains. Booking facilities at post offices will be popularized. The government will hire 17,000 RPF personnel and 4,000 women RPF personnel. And the government will encourage corporates to actually adopt stations and incentivize keeping railway station upkeep. And yes, the first bullet train will run on the Mumbai-Ahmedabad sector, as has been reported for many months. There will be high-speed trains on 9 total routes. The Delhi-Agra route will be among the routes that will or are expected to get the semi-fast trains.
पुराने रामविलास पासवान जी जैसे उन सभी को कंडेम कर दिया, उन सभी की आलोचना कर दी ये कह के कि आज तक अप्रोच रैशनल नहीं रही है और जो रेवेन्यू आता रहा है उसको फ्रिटर अवे करते रहे हैं, उसको व्यर्थ करते रहे हैं। ये इन्होंने आज एक इल्जाम लगाया है आज तक के पुराने सभी सरकारों पे।
रेल का मंत्री बोल रहे हैं कि जितना एक्सप्रेस गाड़ियों का देश में ठहराव है उसको हम समीक्षा करके कैंसिल भी करेंगे। ये तो और आग लगाने का इनवाइट कर रहा है। जिस स्टेशन पर सुविधा है पैसेंजर को वो बोलता हम कैंसिल करेंगे
होगा, लेकिन एक तरफ कहते हैं कि ये विभाग घाटे में चल रहा है और दूसरी तरफ बातें बहुत बड़ी-बड़ी कही हैं रेलवे मंत्री ने, तो समझ में नहीं आता कि ये कहां से पैसा लाएंगे अपने उन वायदों को पूरा करने के लिए।
I want to get in a quick word from headlines today is Jugal Purohit, who joins us live from the New Delhi railway station. He's been getting you voices, reactions as the budget was read out right through this afternoon. Jugal, you know, the voices we've been getting right through today have pretty much said one thing. You know, people are prepared to shell out more money for railway services, but it has to be based on an assurance that those promises are visible and visible quickly.
Absolutely, Shiv. In fact, the railway minister used the word, he said the railways is a struggling organization, and I think going by what we've gathered from people out here, it's something which is pretty much accepted by people on the ground. Let's just speak to a couple who will very soon be boarding a train to Nagpur. हमें ये बताइए, रेलवे बजट सुनकर आप लोगों की क्या प्रतिक्रिया रही है?
आशा तो बहुत है, लग रहा है कि कुछ नई सरकार कुछ करने वाली है, नई सुरक्षा मिलेगी, लेकिन कितना क्रियान्वयन होता है इसके ऊपर देखना पड़ेगा।
लेकिन रेलवे की हालत बड़ी खस्ता है, ये भी इन्होंने कहा है, तो कितना आप उम्मीद करते हैं इनसे?
नहीं, खस्ता तो हालत है, अब उम्मीद के लिए तो इन्हें संसाधन जुटाने पड़ेंगे, पैसे उनको चाहिए, और उन्होंने रिसेंटली किराया भी बढ़ा दिया है जो कि आम जनता पे भारी पड़ा है। हम लोग तो चाहते थे कि आम जनता की किराया कम बढ़ा के हम लोग एसी, जो हम लोग ट्रैवल करते हैं एसी वाली किराया बढ़ाते, फर्स्ट एसी किराया बढ़ाते, लेकिन सभी जनता की बढ़ा दी है।
मुझे आपसे जानना है मैडम कि महिलाओं की सुरक्षा एक बहुत बड़ा मुद्दा है। इस सरकार ने अभी वादा किया है कि वो 4000 महिला कांस्टेबलों को रिक्रूट करेंगे, तो क्या आपको लगता है कि ये सरकार अपने वादों पर पूरा कर पाएगी, और कितनी ज़रूरत है महिलाओं को रिक्रूट करके कांस्टेबल्स लाने में?
हेलो जी, महिलाओं के लिए सुरक्षा तो बहुत जरूरी है, लेकिन ये कहाँ तक हम लोग का साथ दे पाएगी ये तो मुझे मालूम नहीं, वो तो समय ही बताएगी। हमारे देश में तो यही है कि सब लिखित में आता है, लेकिन वो हो नहीं पाता है।
Very conscious, Shiv. In fact, I spoke to some people on board the Dibrugarh Rajdhani a few minutes back, and they were recounting promises which were made, say in the budgets of the last 3 to 4 years, and they said that where are those promises? We are still waiting for the deliverance of those promises. So, in that sense, even though people are excited, but they are not taking the government at face value. They are questioning. In fact, they are asking where is the delivery of what has been promised.
Let's put that question now to the BJP's Shaina NC. Jugal, stay with me. Shaina NC of the BJP is with us. Shaina, the pressure and expectations as far as this railway budget are concerned are probably unprecedented. I certainly haven't seen the kind of anticipation that's come with the rail fare hike. People are hugely impatient to see change and to see it very quickly.
Well, let me start by saying that this is a revolutionary budget, and what do you expect? Just populist measures which have the same systems which don't function, same systems where the commuter is worried about security, cleanliness, infrastructure, fast trains, etc., or would you rather want that we charge the consumer slightly more, but that money which is works as the remuneration is used for systems which are par excellence, which are absolutely at world standard. We're talking about internet on trains, we're talking about a railway system which works without paperwork, which is going to be revolutionary in its own way. We're talking about fast trains, commuting for hubs like Mumbai, tourism in Goa, the IT hub in Bangalore, and at the same time we're talking about developing 24 new connectivities within the Northeast, which was not ever even focused on. So if you want good infrastructure, you want foreign direct investment in the trains vis-a-vis infrastructure, whether it is collaborating with Japan or the best systems in the world. We're talking about railways, not just railway for commuters, but we're talking about moving with the times and absolutely the best facilities, security, cleanliness, food stalls, etc., outsourcing labor, enroping previous officials who worked with the armed forces, etc., to ensure security, give them certain kind of remuneration. I think these are all out of the box ideas.
Jugal, are people using trains less skeptical this year about these promises, given the level of anticipation this year and how it has perhaps surpassed any sort of rail budget that we can remember in the recent past? Are people less skeptical? Are they willing to give the Modi Sarkar a little more latitude, a little more time before those results are visible, or do they want to see things very quickly given that there's been a fare hike?
Absolutely, Shiv. The fare hike is a factor which is very much dominating the entire discourse. People are saying that now we are paying much more to you than what we did. In many cases, people who had booked their tickets had to actually come out and pay more even now. So there is that factor, no doubt about that. But the people are also asking as to just how will the Indian Railways pull it off, because Sadanada Gowda made this point that out of every rupee that they earn, 94 paise is already gone to either salaries, to maintenance costs and to establishment costs, with 6 paise which is remaining for anything surplus. So the people are also actually casting doubts as to just whether or not the railway organization in itself has what it takes to actually effect what kind of promises have been made. And as I just told you, people are saying that promises made 2, 3, 4 years back have not been implemented even now. So just how easily will this new government, just
exactly.
because there is a new set of ministers and a prime minister,
people have
make a
heard, they're used to hearing promises all the time and nothing ever really happening. I want to bring in our panel of experts right now. Ashok Lahiri is with us, our panel of experts who've been with us for the last few hours, and you've heard their expert views as you brought the budget in here on Headlines today. Mr. Lahiri, what do you think? Is that, are those expectations likely to be met? You've heard everything that's been, put out by the rail minister. Are you confident that this would work?
Shiv, I think this is one of the first rail budgets where it heard like a commercial, publicly owned infrastructure company's CEO speaking. So railways, as you know, spend about 20,000 crore on social obligations. But in the process, we forgot that railways is also basically for running 12,500 trains, 23 million passengers, a huge amount of freight. And we have been adding only 370 kilometers per new lines per year in the last 10 years. China, on the other hand, went from 25,000 kilometers in 1958 to over 100,000 kilometers. So just calculate. So this is the time when we heard that he's going to do what it takes to transform railways, including through fare revisions and including through operational improvements, into an infrastructure organization. Railways are the arteries of this motherland. And we need to improve it. And I'm quite hopeful that there's a right beginning. Implementation is very important. And I hope the minister implements all what he has announced.
Is it going to be easy to implement all of these promises that have been laid out, Dr. Varmani?
See, the question is, they are not easy.
Radical suggestions.
Well, the key here, as far as the governance issue is concerned, the e-governance. And I would like to relate it to the overall program of the Prime Minister. If you remember, both in his speeches, etc., he laid a lot of emphasis on governance. So the main method of doing it is this whole list. It's a list, but it's an approach. What we are saying is that perhaps we will reduce corruption through e-procurement.
It's not about the what, it's about the how.
So the question is how you implement it, how you change the system. I think one mistake which I would caution against is this so-called filtering approach. The minister is changing. You can make the IAS change. You've got to go through the whole structure. The railways is a huge, massive organization, and it has an extra thing which other PSU don't have. It has a railway board. So it's a terrible bureaucracy. I mean, terrible in a manner of speaking.
In terms of how complex it is.
And you've got to get through. So it may take longer than they think unless they drill deeper into it. That is what I would suggest.
Rohit, I'd like to bring you in as well. Are you happy with what you saw? I mean, if you analyze, precisely what the intention finally is. Of course, here on television, we tend to paint a pretty dramatic picture of where things will be pretty quickly. But, with a sense of sobriety, is this a good, aggressive first step?
Yes, I think, this government will have at least 5 more railway budgets. So it's a very good beginning for a government which has been in power for less than 2 months. On implementation, many of the things we're discussing is very easy to implement. Issuing platform tickets online, what's the difficulty? One of the biggest problems on railway platforms is waiting for delayed trains. Now, if I have a Wi-Fi, the waiting becomes less painful. Now, providing Wi-Fi requires no cabinet clearance.
Absolutely.
So these things will happen. FDI is where there is going to be a problem, but he has said, I have put it for the cabinet. He has not said, I'm announcing 5 FDI projects.
Absolutely.
So I think to that extent, it's been a very measured budget, and I think the real thing will be the March 2015.
Shaina, that's a crucial point. It's not so much about the what, which has been reported pretty extensively. It's going to be about the how. The what sounds fabulous. The devil could be sitting very pretty in the how, in how everything's going to be implemented, how all of these promises will be made a reality.
See, whenever one comes up with out-of-the-box ideas, there's bound to be a certain kind of resistance But
True,
look
yeah.
at the systems in totality. You have 4,000 women personnel, which was much required, which could have been done by previous governments. They didn't do it. Basic amenities like cleanliness, security, faster train, more commuting avenues in terms of, the professionals who work from city to city and spend 2 to 3 hours commuting. Why shouldn't they have internet facility on it? If we're talking about moving ahead with the times, everything need not just be populist and to say that we haven't increased the fares. If we have increased the fares, where are we using this money? Every 1 rupee spent, is 94 paise of that really being spent for the railways, or is it not? All these systems in the past which were highly questionable are now going to be put to perspective and put to place, not just in sectors like Mumbai and Bangalore and Goa, which are also necessary, but also in areas which were untouched like the Northeast, untouched like various areas where there was no infrastructure project at all. And if we're talking about FDI in infrastructure for railways, isn't the end beneficiary genuinely the commuter?
But the bottom line really is that, with a higher fare, with a higher tariff, with this hike in prices, the expectations are likely to be higher, and parallelly, on a parallel track, the amount of scrutiny in the how, not the what, but the how now is going to be exponentially high. The government can be absolutely sure of that. We've been getting you live reactions right through the day, expert analysis of why this particular railway budget actually matters to you. We've got people, not just people who are studying this, observing what's been happening, the things being said, but people who've actually worked within the Indian Railways. Former chairman of the Indian Railway Board, IIMS Rana, is with us. Privileged to have you on our panel, sir, and thanks for being with us. Not so much the what, but about the how. Few people would know better, just how intricate, complex, unwieldy and large and difficult to manage the entire railways structure is in the country. As a former chairman, Mr. Rana, of the Indian Railway Board, how do you read this particular rail budget? Is it too optimistic? Is it measured? Is it possible? What do you think?
There are plus and minus, which I have said earlier. The direction and the emphasis is right. Emphasis on information technology and PPP and FDI and all those things are very right, and services and all this stuff. The main problem of the country, as I said earlier, as also in the railways, is the implementation. And as you said, how are they going to implement? There are some important internal bottlenecks, very rigid financial controls and all this stuff. But the positive side is that the Prime Minister has given the direction and the monitoring systems and all that. He's
backed it completely.
And he is going to monitor it also, as I can see it. So that monitoring, critical monitoring of all these aspects is very vital, right at the minister level and maybe PMO and Prime Minister level also. Unless it's an extremely difficult job. Because there are bottlenecks after bottlenecks.
Absolutely.
And unless they are monitored very critically at highest levels like minister and PMO and even maybe Prime Minister level, it's going to be extremely difficult. But it is possible.
Okay, so it's possible, but it's going to be all down to the implementation, about the scrutiny. Perhaps the media plays its own part in this entire thing, but the fact is this is a complex exercise. A beginning has been made, it's measured. Some people say it's optimistic. The opposition has something completely different to say. But let's get you a sense of what the sentiment is on the ground after Sadanada Gowda's maiden rail budget speech. Our correspondent Jugal Purohit was on board the Rajdhani to understand a perspective of the people directly affected and immediately. The Aam Aadmi, is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down to Modinomics on the tracks? Take a look.
It was the Modi administration's maiden budget, maiden policy-making document in the form of the rail budget that was laid on the table of the House. They began by criticizing the UPA and their predecessors for making Indian railways the mess that it currently resembles. However, the Modi administration wanted to avoid falling into the trap of making grand announcements, yet they seem to have actually triggered off a host of expectations from the passengers. From promising them cleaner stations, better office-like environment in trains, bullet trains, high-speed trains of over 200 kilometers per hour between select destinations, services like branded food courts at major railway stations, escalators, lifts, foot-over bridges, special treatment for disabled and senior citizens. It does seem that the Modi administration's motto of promising less and delivering more will be put to test, because they've actually ended up promising quite a lot. That's the situation, and it's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years that the country and especially the passengers who use the Indian Railway will determine just how well this administration has fared. With Shakil Ahmed in New Delhi, Jugal Purohit reporting for Headlines Today.